So let's start with behaviors. There are 4 fundamental drivers or behavioral drivers for innovation that if they were very well embedded in the organization, I can assure you that that organization will create anything that you call innovation times 20 or times 100. And these are, first of all, the behavioral drivers behind this idea of seeking unpredictable answers. I'll repeat that again because it's important. Seeking unpredictable answers. Think for a second, if you have an issue, a problem, something that you want to solve, and I know that solving problems is not the same as innovation, but we know what we are talking about. If you are in a project team or in a staff team, and you work with Joe and Mary and Peter every day or every week, and you know each other and you know very well what they think about it, the chances are that you are not going to get many unpredictable answers. You know very well what Peter and Joe and Mary and the rest think about it. It's actually, teams are rather predictable environments, are rather stable environments. You can say, well, I can have teams with people across the world. Yes, that's a different concept. So you have other people, then it starts. But the whole idea is about how can I make myself, put myself in a situation where unpredictability comes, where I don't know already what the answer is going to be, because if I know I'm already there, and then my fellow Peter is always going to agree with me, and we are probably not going to create a lot of innovation. Teams are very good for operational things. They get on with things, they have objectives and they do. They are not very good for innovation. I'm making another sweeping statement, which I hope that some of you challenge later on, but they don't. What you need, and this is well researched, what you need is to expose yourself to people that you don't know. And that's the whole thing, the whole idea. There is lots of research, but the oldest ones, it comes from 1974, could you believe it? We are talking about ages ago, where Granovetter, a social scientist, described what he called and ended up calling the weak ties and the strong ties. People are linked with the strong ties when you are in teams, when you know each other, when your families are probably a strong tie. And weak ties are the ones that you are linked with, individuals who you don't know much. Maybe you send a business card, a Christmas card from time to time. They are somewhere. They are not totally unknown. But your connection is certainly not as strong as the day-to-day connection that you have in a team, for example. And there are lots of spin-off research, some of them very interesting and some of them anecdotal. One of the things that he did is to go and find when somebody has a new job, and this job is got a new job because somebody has recommended you. Where is this recommendation likely to come? Are they going to come more from people who you know, which is the conventional wisdom we say? The research shows that it comes all the time from people that you don't know. so don't know many people because they are likely to recommend you for jobs. And that's 74. And there are lots of data around that. This unpredictable ability to get answers, or in that case to get recommended with people that you don't know. So the behaviors behind that is anything that has to do with seeking remote views. Each of the behaviors, by the way, needs to be translated, if we were to do the real exercise, into very specific set of behaviors I call atomic, that you can see happening every day, or in your team, or in your group, or whatever it is. For example, I would say the equivalent of that would be, have you sought remote views, and you've done something, there is a new project, you're working on something. Where is the input? Have you sought views from people who are in another division, from people who are in another country? And you're going to say, well, we do that because we have scientists, and we talk to the scientists, you're a scientific community, but I warn you that some of the scientists probably are a little bit of strong ties with you. You know them too well already. So you need to get to people who really you don't know. So I would translate that into picking up the phone and calling somebody who is in the US, in Gent or somewhere like that, and say, how would you do that? And I know some of you are going to say, well, that's not how we do it, that's not the norm, and we don't do that, etc. Well, fine, I'm just sharing with you things that work very well, but you have to go and seek the unpredictable answer, and the unpredictable answer is not with your team, is not with your close circle. A warning here also in this behavioral driver is that too much customization or personalization is also not very good for that behavioral fabric for innovation. What do I mean by that? Well, that's the tendency that we have today, you and me and everybody, to get, for example, Google News or any kind of news that says, well, I want that, I want the other, I want the other. So you personalize, you filter, and you get what you want because the rest is supposed to be a waste. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. The more you do that, it's very reassuring, it's very cozy, you get what you get, but you are missing lots of things. So for everything that you are customizing, you should try to decustomize things and put yourself in front of things that are very alien to you. Maybe news coming from somewhere else, or magazines, or trade magazines, or things that have nothing to do with your industry. It works very well, but again, it's a habit that needs to be there. And that has to do with the seeking unpredictable answers, which is the behavioral driver number one for innovation. The second is the challenging of the default position. You see, if after every single meeting, after 50% of all the meetings that you have, and you have made some decisions on whatever, somebody asks the question, could have been done differently? Just asking this question systematically, asking whether there was something there that could have been done in a different way, faster, cheaper, different, something that has to do with challenging the default position. And you're a bunch of scientists and you're going to tell me that's ridiculous because in many cases we are making decisions on something that is a 3-week process on something and we are not reinventing the process because this is how it is, this is how it should be. So we don't need a lot of creativity there, we need this process as it is. But that's a risk the scientists have of thinking, well, it's all craft, it's all there. I'm talking about ideas, about processes, about management ways of doing things. I repeat, if any of you or half of you or your teams or your meetings systematically ask the question, could that have been done in a different way? I can assure you, you multiply your innovation by 20. It's a simple rule, behavioral rule. Some of you may have, many companies do, I don't know about you, a habit of having a meeting with agenda, so it's very formal, and at the end of the agenda, people say, well, how was the meeting? And, you have 5 minutes saying, well, it was good or bad or whatever. Some companies do, some companies don't. But it's a habit. It's a norm. It's something that is there. If the norm was, hey, time out, before we go home, we are all very happy because we reached the end of everything. We close all the issues. We are very rewarded by the whole thing. Time out. Could have been done that in a different way. Could have that decision been made 3 months ago somewhere else? Could we have done it? It's a habit of asking and challenging the way you do things, as a habit. Even to the point that your fellows around you say, shut up, asking the same thing all the time. We know, now it comes the question, could that be that different? Yes, it comes, because it has to be there as a habit, the same as you have a habit of having an agenda, which probably is something that you do for meetings. It's exactly the same.